myself too. Beautiful, beautiful. And it's that time. Everyone's joining in, logging in. Welcome, everybody. How's everybody's evening going?
Good.
Good.
Yeah, not too bad.
Can you hear all of us, James?
Yep, I can hear you, Cheryl.
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, well.
Everyone that's not on mute, I can hear.
I unmuted everybody. Welcome, everybody.
Cool, cool. Wait a couple more minutes. Let everyone join. It should be a good group tonight. I'm looking forward to this.
I don't know how to. Are you taking a video of Angela?
Yeah, it's pretty good. You know, like 7:30 Wednesday night. Definitely, it's a great webinar. So look forward. So take a picture.
Good.
Too funny. If people coming from the U.S. tonight, somewhere in California, it's actually only 4:30 there. They're jumping on, waiting for a couple people. I think one or two in Australia, and possibly even one or two in the UK. So it should be a good group tonight.
Nice. Let me just post again.
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe some people.
While we're waiting for the other people to join, what is one thing, just again popcorn style, what is one thing you guys would like to learn tonight, or that you'd like me to cover tonight? What do you think? What do you think? Not all at once.
Angela or Mabel, do you have any questions or anything to cover?
Let me unmute myself. So I guess pretty much from my end, it's because the current situation, you know, I'm a real estate agent, right? So everything's pretty slow. I guess I really need sort of not just motivation. It's also about like confidence. Like how can I make a lot of changes? You know, we always saying that we're our own enemies. But like sometimes, you know, we're also so weak. I learned tons of stuff from the previous, James, from your webinar. So that's why I'm so look forward, you know, today's webinar.
Amazing. Awesome. I'm glad. And you're right, we can often be our own worst enemy, yet we can maybe become millionaires and billionaires as well. It's really interesting what separates us and what differentiates us as well. Hey, Florian, welcome.
Hi there.
Hey, Brett, welcome. Hey, Lucy.
Hey, what's going on?
You know, hanging out.
James, there's something that I would like to learn in this webinar is, you know, how do I break through that inertia of procrastination and, you know, get into action, like when that comes up?
Sounds good. So confidence, procrastination, rather get into action, procrastination for yourself, and for Angela, confidence and standing out in real estate. Cool. I appreciate it. I will. We'll get into all that. We'll talk about why we procrastinate and how you can shift that. Some on your own, some needing special tools. I'll talk about that as well. But yeah, I got some really cool strategies and tool sets for you guys tonight too. So to respect your time, I am going to begin. There'll be probably lots of people joining us, but I'm going to begin right now, in fact. And let me just share my screen here with everybody. And feel free, by the way, any questions that questions you weren't clear on something, you want me to repeat something, happy to do that. You want me to explain something, happy to do that. Anything else? Thank you, Lionel, and of course, thank you everyone for your questions as well. Thank you, Angela. Anyone else going once, going twice? Any specific things you want me to talk about or cover?
I guess I was curious about how to start something new. What you meant by that, I guess.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll explain during the webinar, but basically how to start something new, anything new, really, and why we often either procrastinate or we'll start it and we'll do it and we'll stop. It's that you will start and then we stop. if we start at all. So.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yes, you're welcome. Cool. Anything else? Anything else, guys?
And maybe also like about how to use NLP to increase your communication skills and motivate your team and increase the whole team's sales. Because I have, during my research, I realized that people leverage NLP course as one of the most significant course to take during sales production. Like, so say for example, financial sales, real estate sales, insurance sales. So they find that like NLP is very good for getting to know your client and getting motivated, getting your team motivated and all that. So I'm very, very interested in that aspect.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I will. That's a really good question. I know you've done your research. So we have lots of awesome stuff to talk about after as well. I'll do my best to give you guys as much as I can tonight in our short hour and a half tonight. Absolutely. Yeah. NLP is one of the tool sets I've chosen to master. And as you'll see in a moment, wow, has it ever changed my life and the life of a lot of people as well. And yes, for sales, for motivating people, increasing influence, trust, rapport. Again, for you, for Angela as well. Again, being having more likability, that rapport, that trust. Why would someone choose to do business with you over someone else? The tool sets I teach are incredible for that, including communication. And one thing you guys will like, but we probably won't have time for tonight, is to learn how people make decisions and is to learn how people buy. And it's called their buying program or their buying strategy. And it's not so you can manipulate them, but it's so you can support them in making a decision. Again, it's a little outside the scope, or a lot outside the scope of tonight. But it's a really powerful way to support someone in their decision to buy a pack of gum or to buy a house or buy a car or buy a service. Whatever it is. Maybe it's Dahlia is a financial advisor, so maybe it's to buy a financial service, or to hire Florian, for example, as your outsourced CEO or CFO, excuse me. So buying programs are very, very powerful and very important, because you're giving people exactly what they need in the pieces and steps they need and the way they need it. Maybe they don't communicate very well by emails or by reading. Maybe that's conversations better. So lots of cool stuff. I'll see if I can share a little bit of that tonight, but we'll definitely have some conversations after. Great question. So I'm going to share my screen here with you guys. All right, screen 2, and perfect. All right. I'm going to leave you guys unmuted because I'd love you guys to ask questions. So, okay, here we go. Keys to change your unwanted habits, behaviors, patterns, and how to keep going when you do. So I want to tell you a little story first. I want to engage you all in a bit of a story. And the story goes like this. There was a farmer in Africa. And one spring, he went outside his front door of his farm. And by the way, let me know if you can't hear me or can't hear me clearly at any point tonight. So a farmer in Africa went outside the front of his farm, and he saw a massive line of people walking up and down the street, or walking up the street rather, on the way through town. And he was wondering, what the heck is going on? Why is everyone lining up, down the street? And a man came up to him. He said, "Sir, can I have a drink of water? I know I don't know you, but I've been standing in line, walking for hours. Do you mind if I have a drink of water?" And so the man said, "Sure, but yeah, come into my farm and I'll give you a drink of water." So then what happened from there is the man proceeded to have a drink of water, and he thanked the farmer, and then he left, and he went on his way. And a year later, the man, again, same thing, he was walking along the road with everyone, a big long line. And what happened? Well, he was thirsty, and he went to see the farmer for another drink of water. But it was a different farmer. It was a different man. And he said, "What happened to the previous farmer? I was here last year, and it was a different farmer." And he said, "Well, he went to sold all the stuff, sold the farm, and bought a bunch of prospecting equipment, and went to join the diamond rush, because they've discovered diamonds here in Africa." And the man was like, "Oh wow, that's really interesting." He said, "Do you mind? I know I don't know you. Do you mind if I come in and I have a drink of water?" And he said, sure. And he was looking around the farmer's old house. It hadn't changed much since he'd been there. He visited the farmer a year ago, other than that this new farmer, this new man owned the property. And this stranger who asked for a drink of water looked over on the fireplace mantle. And he saw something catch his eye. Something shiny caught his eye, and he went over to the mantle. And he picked up this black piece of rock. It was cold. This black piece of coal and rock. This big black piece, because something was shining in it. And he looked at it for a second, and the farmer said, "It's really pretty, isn't it?" And the man said, "Yeah." He's like, "I think you have something here." And he banged off some of the coal dust off of it. And that's a true story. That diamond, that rock turned out to be one of the biggest diamonds ever found in Africa. And the stranger that had asked for the water said to the farmer, "Do you have any idea what this is?" He's like, "No." He's like, "No, it's just a pretty rock. I like to hang it on my mantelpiece." And the stranger said, "Well, you know what? This is a diamond. This is worth a fortune. This is why all the people have been lining up and down the road, have been walking for hours and days on end, coming out of their villages, going up to the mountains to get the diamonds and to mine for diamonds, prospect for diamonds." And the farmer said, "Really?" He was puzzled. He said, "Gee," he said, "that's why everyone's lining up and waiting hours and hours?" He's like, "My goodness." He's like, "I got a whole riverbed full of them out back." So it's a bit of a funny and ironic story, because we have everything we need inside us all along. That initial farmer had all the riches and everything inside him that he needed all along. But he sold it to join the diamond rush, join the fad, join the craze, sold all of that. He could have been one of the richest men in the world, like this new farmer. So we all have everything we need inside us, guys. And that touches on a lot of things like confidence, like self-esteem, like addictions, like procrastinations, like starting something new or not starting something new because we think we're not good enough, or that we can't do it, or we're scared that we'll fail. So just wanted to touch a little bit on what people are interested in here. Would you like to take your work and life to a whole new level? Would you like to stop the self-sabotage? Boost your confidence, like maybe like Angela was saying. Be seen and heard and have people want to work with you, like Mabel was asking about. Command attention, gain respect, and have people really, really see your value. And take action in the face of fear. Well, you've come to the right place. Procrastination is just fear. No one is inherently lazy. No one is a quote-unquote procrastinator. It's fear. And we'll talk more about it. It's fear. So, reinvention. Believe it or not, on the left side of the screen is the old me. Crazy, eh? Everyone can see my screen? Perfect, thank you. The old me on the left. That is the old me, my friends. And not that, well, you don't want to see my calendar. Not that this is all about weight loss or weight or fat, and it's not. But that was, basically a snapshot showing you where I've been and where I'm coming from and where I am now. So again, this is not a weight loss story at all, actually. During reinvention and change and shift, I want you to always look to the learnings and the positive outcome of a situation, because usually there are these learnings during any situation, any hard times, any crappy times that make us stronger, make us better, and more capable for what our future selves need, our future careers need, and what our future relationships demand of us. And this is why many of us don't change. All people focus on is the story. It's what we tell ourselves and others on why we can't do something, why it's so hard, poor me, it's this person's fault, or this is the reason, or this is the person that holds you back, this is why I can't, or it's to get a need filled. Often our I'll call them addictions, our behaviors, our negative behaviors, our patterns and habits, they're often to get a need filled, or to numb a pain or fill a void. Or again, our excuses and stories blaming others is to let ourselves off the hook. And I want you to know that I'm honoring wherever any of you are coming from. And I get that we all have our own life circumstances. Although if you stop the story and stop any excuses and literally have a massive shift in yourself and learn from the crappy situations in life, and stop any excuses and only look at, I am going to do this no matter what. How can I? Again, think, how can I versus I can't. Well, change your vocabulary. As Tony Robbins says, words are super, super powerful. You're programming your brain. Think, how can I? And always think, how can I? Because where there's a will, there's a way. I know it's a bit cliche, but again, literally, where there's a will, there's a way. So during reinvention, tough times, transformation, whatever, remember that this too shall pass, and it always does. And when you look to learn and grow from something, anything, you will always come out better in the end. And it's going to prepare you from later on in life, whatever, the universe or God or life throws at you, whatever it is you believe, whatever life throws at you, the crappy times prepare us for better. So what to do? Well, in a situation, one thing you could do, one tool I find is useful, is to write down all the things about this current situation or this crappy time. Write all these things down about you, and how you're going to be better, how this is going to help you be stronger, more resilient, more capable, more independent when all this is over. And that's a good thing that'll help shift your mind and literally reframe your mind of wow, this is so crappy, this is such a tough time, I hate it. And shift you to, wow, this is going to make me more resilient and tougher and better with A, B, C, D, better able to do this. I had a lot of trouble with math in public school. I struggled so much with math. I worked so hard just to pass. The benefit in that, though, was that I can outwork almost anyone. I often choose not to because I want to live life and I work efficiently and smartly. However, I have learned, and it set me up to be a great entrepreneur. I'm no stranger to hard work and to giving it 100% no matter what happens to me. So, and Tony Robbins, he's one of the biggest, biggest personal coaches and empowerment coaches in the world. And he says that one of the keys to success is state management. That's a little frame. So one of the keys to success is managing your emotional state. And I'm going to give you a little tool on how to do that. Because remember this, guys, your words are powerful. Your words are super powerful. So if you say, oh, this is so hard, or I'm so dumb, or I'm not good at this, or I can't do this, or I'm a this, I'm a that. Again, your words are powerful, or oh, I can't do this, or they're so mean, or I'm so pissed off right now. Again, and I learned this from Tony. It is a way to reframe your brain. And what you can do is, instead of saying, I'm so pissed off, or I'm so hurt, and it sounds silly, but it works. You got to try it. Instead of saying, I'm so mad, I'm so pissed off, because again, words are powerful, and having conscious use of your language. I believe it was Mabel or Angela was talking about communication and effective communication, even with yourself. So try this on for size. Instead of saying, I'm so pissed off, or I'm so hurt, say, I'm a little tiddly bit miffed. Almost make light of it. Make light of that emotion. I swear, it'll make you laugh, and it'll change your state. Again, your words have power. Make it fun. Make it funny. If you're really sad at something, you can say, I'm a little bit perturbed, or a little bit puzzling. Again, make it fun. Make it something that'll take you out of that. Because if you say to yourself, I'm so effing mad, or I'm so angry, I'm so hurt, then yes, you're gonna be, and it's all you're focusing on, which is clearly not gonna get you to where you want. So choose your words powerfully, and choose what you choose to say, and have maybe funny words for maybe sad words, glad words, mad words, angry words, hurt words. Try it, and just make up a funny word or a funny way to express yourself. I am this. So it's a little tool that I learned from Tony. Again, on state management, because your words have power, and if you say I am this, then you're going to feel that. Whereas if you change it and say I'm a tiddly bit miffed or something, or a little bit puzzling, you will literally change your mood. One thing on reinvention too, when I was creating my book became an international bestseller. I believe it was about a month and a half ago now. And during reinvention, you have to take a big risk and call on courage. And I needed a lot of courage to write my book. I was so afraid people would think it's a piece of crap, or that it wasn't good, or it was boring, or wouldn't help them. And so it took me 4 years to write this first book. Well, I guess technically second book. It took 4 years to write this book. So I had to call on a lot of courage. And during any time of reinvention, you're going to have to take a big risk and call on courage. And if you're on the threshold and it feels risky and scary and you're fearful, then it's A, more actually like to be a transformation and reinvention for you, and B, it's something you got to do. If you're fearing it, if you're scared of it, if it's a big deal to you, then clearly it's important and it's a sign you just got to do it. So the biggest, scariest things in life, head towards them, run towards them, face your fears. And this is a way to reinvent yourself, because the biggest, scariest blow up moments, biggest fears, you're on the doorstep of transformation and reinvention. You have to call on your courage and take a risk. Be okay taking a risk. And I'll explain why risk is so powerful later in when I talk about the pillars of transformation and success. So moving on, reinvention and transformation needs a leap of faith, guys. Needs a moment of truth, whether it's taking action on something, facing your fears, whether you're procrastinating because you're facing your fears, or you're not facing your fears, rather, you're staying stagnant, you're not taking action, you're hiding, right? And this moment of truth or courage is not going to happen on its own. You have to take it. And often you're in an extremely vulnerable space. Look at it this way. Invertebrates like lobsters, they do something called molting before they grow. So they have an exoskeleton, they have a shell on the outside which protects them. Before they can grow, they have to shed it. They literally shed this protective shell, and they leave the shell behind. And all it is a blob of tissue and muscle, and it's a very fragile state. It's terrifying and vulnerable to this lobster until the new shell grows. And just like yourself, it's appropriate for you to feel this way when you need to grow, when you're molting, you're transforming. In fact, the butterfly has to struggle during their escape as well. Struggle, well, like I said before, struggle will make us stronger and equip us for the future. Butterflies have to struggle when they escape from a cocoon. This is where the fluid from their bodies is pushed into their wings to expand their wings and support their wings. When good-intentioned scientists first tried to help the butterfly and cut open the cocoon, the butterflies couldn't actually they could not properly use their wings, and they died. Isn't that crazy? That the struggle is one of the things that sets them up for life, right? So again, like I said, write down all the things that how you'll be better, stronger, more resilient, more capable, and more independent after all of this is over, whatever this thing is you're facing. And we always face things in life, so write it down. And that'll shift your view and shift your focus on what's going on, because focus is everything. All right. So another way to shift your moods, your feelings, shift the way you're thinking, shift the way you're feeling. So what I want you to do, this is called anchoring. In the NLP techniques and tools, this is called anchoring. And so what I want you to do is I want you to think about a time. Think about a specific time where you felt incredibly either powerful, incredibly worthy, incredibly confident, incredibly pumped, incredibly excited. Any one of these. I think you felt like that way in the past. Just looking at a message here. Someone said there was a bit of digital garble there a bit ago. Again, look at where in the past, go back and visualize a time, anytime, a specific time. Close your eyes because it helps. Close your eyes and go back. I want you to go back and visualize a specific time that you felt, again, awesome, pumped, powerful, confident. You were doing it. You're just doing it. You're coming through no matter what. Ecstatic, excited, whatever state you want to be able to use in the future. Go back to a time, a specific time, and see what you saw, hear what you heard, feel what you felt during that time. Be there, literally be there. Smell, if there's a smell, sights, touch, taste, sound, and be there. Be in your body, looking through your own eyes, and feel like you did then. Go back and feel those amazing feelings of whatever it was you wanted to feel, what you felt back then, whatever you want to be able to feel on command. And this is called anchoring. And there's some advanced ways to do it. This is a very simple way to do it. And what I want you to do is experience that, feel it, that amazing, amazing point in time. And what I want you to do is grab hold of that feeling and come back to now and bring that feeling back to now with you, and bring that feeling and feel now just like you did then. And just again, focus on that and visualize that and feel like you did at that time, and bring that back toward now. Come back to now, focusing on all that amazing stuff, and reach out and almost bring that memory back in with your arms and hands, and almost like bring that memory into your body and hug that memory into your body and feel it and experience it and feel that sense of whatever, pumped, power, confidence, you name it. Feel that feeling. This is called anchoring, and you can do this anytime you want, anytime you need to feel a certain way before a talk, a communication, talk with your sales team guys, before you do something. And that gets us out of the mode of procrastination, gets us out of, not being able to have a tough talk, not standing up for ourselves. It gets us at our best. If we need to be on stage or need to present or show your value, again, go back to do this. Visualize an awesome time, an awesome memory where you felt the way you need to feel now. Experience it for a minute or two. Live there, be there through your own eyes, and then bring that back. Hug that image, that picture of you, and bring that back to now and feel it through your entire body. So that's one technique, and it works very well and very quickly too. So that's a little bit on emotional state management. So I love when people create amazing confidence. I love when people take their work to a whole new level. They make lots of money serving a higher purpose and helping others, when they become an amazing leader, speaker, mentor, coach, and when they take the communication to a whole new level. I love helping people and seeing when people are able to have instant trust with people, instant rapport, being a likable leader, salesperson, mentor, coach. I love, love, love seeing people succeed and when they're like this. And when they stand out and get a leg up over the competition. This is why I do what I do. I help people be seen and heard, be highly influential, just go face their fears and just do it, and be seen as an expert and leader in their field, communicate with people effectively, and lead and influence others positively, of course, so they will work with you. They'll do business with you. They'll create powerful relationships with you. That's a bit on me and what I love to do. So I talked about today why it's so hard to change and be consistent, and I wanted to get into that now. So why is it so hard to change? You want to lose weight. You want to speak up for yourself. You want to stand up for yourself. You want to take action. You want to go to the gym. You want to approach someone for business or for networking. You want to approach a stranger for a romantic situation. You want to take action in your business, make sales calls, whatever it is, right? So why it's so hard to change and be consistent is because all learning, all behavior, and all change is unconscious. It's all unconscious. And this is why people give up on their New Year's resolutions 17 days on average into the new year, right? So it's all unconscious. It's like our heartbeat. It's like our body digesting our food. It's like breathing. It's like fight and flight. It's like fear, panic, freeze, hide, procrastinate. You see some people hide behind social media all the time and try to promote their business by just simply posting online all the time. I mean, that's to a degree hiding, right? It also causes people to get mad and yell, to shut up and not say anything, to not stand up for themselves, to not be real and say what they need to say in front of their clients, and instead be nice instead, or maybe to their kids or spouse or whatever. It's where sadness comes from, right? So it's where all this stuff comes from. It's all unconscious. Okay, well, so what does that mean? Think about it this way. It's like, well, it's not like, but it is a fact that only 10% of your brain is conscious. We use 100% of our brain. The 10% is that we only use 10% of our brain is a myth, but we only use 10% of our brain consciously. The rest is unconscious. It's our unconscious, or some people call it our subconscious mind. Again, body digest, heartbeat, lungs breathe, get mad, react in a certain way for no reason, that kind of thing. Get emotional, have an emotional reaction versus a logical reaction, right? It's all unconscious. Your ego is unconscious, right? Your ego is unconscious, and this is another reason why it's so hard to change, because your current ego, your current iteration of your ego and your identity, your current identity will fight so hard not to change. And the inner ego, the inner identity, thinks the status quo is safe. It's comfortable. It likes where things are now. And our ego, our unconscious mind, our inner identity like to stay comfortable, like to stay safe, or at least what they think is comfort, what they think is safe. And our ego and our identity thinks that change is unsafe, and again, wants things to stay is, and will fight against you with all its might to keep you the way you are. And again, it's because it's fear. It's fear. And it's almost a death of that current identity. We all move through different identities through our life, but in that identity, it will fight and fight and fight not to change. And this is where some of the unconscious tools become really powerful, because instead of just talking about the problem and talking about a blue tree and then saying, well, what color is your tree, right? What color is your tree? Well, of course it's blue. Just looking, there's a question here. Yes, exactly. Getting out of your comfort zone is so uncertain and a lot of fears. I agree. Yeah, I absolutely agree, guys. So it's like riding an elephant. It's like riding an elephant, and the rider is kind of like the 10% of your conscious mind. The elephant is the 90% of your brain. 90%, that's your unconscious mind. And again, this is why people on average give up so easy. They either fail to start or they start. They either procrastinate, they hide, they hold off, they say, I'm gonna someday, I coulda, woulda, shoulda, or this is where all excuses come from, stories come from, blame comes from. The rider, if you will, the conscious mind says, I want to lose weight. I want to go to the gym. I want to start a business. I want to have a great relationship. I want to quit smoking. I want to quit eating crappy food. I want to go out there and ask for a raise. I want to ask my boss for demand a raise. In fact, I want to demand a raise. In fact, that's some of the things I help my clients with, demand a raise and show why you're worth it, right? And this is a big important thing because we want it so badly, we can taste it. However, we don't do it, or we start and then we stop, or we self-sabotage, or most of the time, often people never start, right? And it's because literally you're fighting an elephant. This rider, this little guy, is trying to push that elephant in a way and in a direction that elephant does not want to go. It's trying to push that elephant in a direction where it doesn't want to go because it doesn't know that way. It's new, it's fearful, it's scared. Maybe it had a bad experience when it was younger. So it's literally like fighting an elephant. And this is why people give up after, on average, 17 days. It's freaking exhausting to push against an elephant. Imagine trying to get an elephant to go one way that it doesn't want to go for 17 days. I can't believe people don't give up sooner because it's exhausting, absolutely exhausting. So the key to this is to use and work with your unconscious mind, appease that elephant, teach that elephant, train that elephant. And this is where a lot of the unconscious level tools come in, some which can only be done in trainings, and that's why I teach my courses, and that's why people come, some that I can give you today. And without further ado, I'm going to proceed and give you some more of these tools today on how to work with your unconscious mind and how to kind of liaise between it, thus how to change. Okay, so quick first, the biggest reasons why people don't achieve what they want, so these are things to be aware of, guys. They focus on what they don't want. And people, you'll hear it in their words. Well, I don't want to be sick. Or I don't want to be broke. I don't want to be unhealthy. I don't want to be lonely. They're focusing so much on what they don't want versus I want to be rich. I want to be healthy. I want to have my own business. I want an amazing person in my life. They don't align it with their purpose or are not clear on their higher purpose, or they have, well, I shouldn't say they don't have it, but everyone has a purpose. They haven't discovered their purpose, their higher purpose, which is bigger than them. A quick side note on having a bigger purpose, guys, that's above just us. It'll help you make money faster and easier. It'll fulfill you in the worst of times, and it's going to make everything easy. It's kind of like the grease to the wheel to figure out your purpose, and that's one of my favorite things to do with people. They make it all about the money, and often if you don't have a purpose, what you are chasing is only the money. And people can smell that from a mile away, and they will run like hell from you. Whether you're in sales, whether you're a team member, whether you're an entrepreneur, whether you're a salesperson, they'll run like hell. People are often know-it-alls. People try to do it all alone. Hashtag don't do it alone. Have a support system, which we'll talk about later. People are being too nice versus actually being real with someone and speaking the truth and calling people out and speaking up and saying what they want to say, what they need to say to someone. They're just being too nice. Usually because they're afraid of, thanks, Laura. I love the list too. Usually because they're afraid. They're afraid of being judged or not liked, or that someone will not do business with them. And the truth is, guys, if you're not real with people, if you don't talk to them like no one else will, I'm not talking about being an ass, but if you don't be real with them and talk to them like no one else will, why would they hire you? Why wouldn't they just talk to someone else, right? So be different. This is one dramatic way to be different, because everyone is trying to look good. Everyone's trying to be nice. Everyone's trying to have everyone like them to feel their own, whatever that deeper root problem or deeper feeling or worry or concern is. So again, be real. And again, they procrastinate or hide versus failing fast, and realizing that one of the best ways to learn is to fail. And again, get feedback and have learning lessons, because really there's no failure unless you quit. I'm going to breeze through this quickly. They give up. They're not willing to be uncomfortable. If you want to have massive changes in your life and help a lot of people, make a lot of money, and do big things in life, get used to being a bit uncomfortable pretty much all the time. And by the way, you get used to it. It's like working out. You'll get used to it. Not willing to fail or take risks. No commitment. I wish I could. I really wanted to. I really should. They have addictions versus commitments in their life. They're not working on themselves. They have a crappy mindset, beliefs, confidence, and poor self-esteem. And believe it or not, they're not taking care of their physical health. They'll sap your energy. So where does most of our crap come from? How does this poor elephant get all this crap poured into him or her and not want to do things? The fear. Well, it's often from culture. It's from family, religion, society, different groups, community limiting beliefs, cultural and family limiting beliefs and programming. The biggest ages this happens with, one of them is 0 to 14. Pardon me, the first one's 0 to 7, excuse me. It's called our imprint age. It's when we're kids, we're babies, and we're like sponges. Everything goes in. Everything goes in. No filter, no judgment, nothing. Age 8 to 14 in your life, this is a modeling age. We copy everyone. We copycat everyone. We want to be like mom and dad. We want to help them. We copy their language, behaviors. So this is where we learn good and bad behaviors and patterns. And then you have age 15 to 21. And this is really the period of socialization. And this is where we rebel, we misbehave, we do bad things, break rules, break laws, because we're kind of testing these things we've learned and testing to see if it meets our values. And this is from Morris Massey's Periods of Development and Periods of Socialization. Very, very interesting. And it's my job in the courses I teach and during the course I teach to undo all this cultural or societal, religious, family beliefs like this is bad, that's bad, you can't do this, you can't do that, you shouldn't talk to strangers, you shouldn't do this, or you can't do that, or it's not nice to do this, or whatever this stuff is that we're taught, and all the crap that's taught and passed down, and good girls don't do this, or nice gentlemen don't do this, or good people don't do this, or this is bad to do, or that's bad to do. All the bullshit we're told, don't talk to strangers, or whatever it is, or it's rude to walk up and talk to someone, like some cultures, or again, some cultures often are very demeaning to women, and women are seen and not heard. And that causes a lot of issues too, and not just women, but to men as well. Men can only do this. Men, all the bullshit about men can't cry, or men can't ask for help, or men can't share their feelings, or the only default emotion a man should have is anger, or if there's anything else it means he's gay, or whatever bullshit. We're programmed. It's my job to undo this, and it's awesome when I see people walk out of my office, of my courses, and set free. And literally, the most common thing people say to me is, James, I feel lighter. I feel physically lighter, and like I have a huge amount of hope that anything is possible now. And it is. It truly, truly is. So this is quickly where all the crap comes from. And building your confidence and eliminating this crap and cleaning up this stuff, it's why people will buy from us, hire us, date us, promote us, befriend us, or do business with us. This confidence and certainty in ourselves. And again, remember, it's not born into us. We're born awesome. It's society, people, culture is beating us down. Here's something I want to share. Yes, it's programmed into us. However, there's nothing your parents did to you or didn't do for you that makes it okay not to lead a kick-ass life. And that's Karen Kessler. In fact, I think it originally comes from Oprah. And it's our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Marianne Williamson. Often people fear success because of what it'll do, or what it means, or what they'll have to do. I talked about periods and identities, or you could look at them as epochs or periods of time. And we often move through different epochs, not without, vehement disarray and different disasters, things blowing up, and reinventions, like I said. This is a very powerful tool. I don't have tons of time to spend on it. This is a very, very powerful tool. Looking at past identities that we shut away or repressed or put down. Like I repressed the fat loser guy. I was, like as you see from the very bottom here, public school. I was bullied. I was beaten up. I was the loser. And this is a very powerful tool. If you guys want to take a screenshot and paste it into Word or PowerPoint or whatever, I encourage you, because it's a very, very, very powerful tool when you work through this. So what it is, it allows us to work through every time period of whether it's I don't know, addictions, whether it's our life blowing up, being called a loser, being bullied, a business failure, getting laid off like I was, having trouble in school like I did, whatever it was, and just, just going for it. By the way, I in grade 10 was told I would have to drop down to the dummy math and I'd never go to university. And that, that was life. And again, you got to be really careful what you listen to and what people, even well-intentioned people, tell you, or even what authority figures tell you. Again, because like I said, it goes in like glue, especially younger years. So question all the stuff you've been told, because this stupid teacher of mine, unless she was covertly trying to motivate me because she knew me, she's like, drop down to the dummy math. I'd forget about university because you need the higher math. You're getting 35% in grade 10 math. And I didn't listen to that. I refused to listen to that crap and said, no, I am not going to listen to this. I'm not going to accept this. No way, no how. So what I did is I went and took all my maths, worked hard as hell, and I went and got and completed 4 university maths successfully, 4 university level maths. So it just shows you anything is possible, even if someone tells you that you can't do it. And by the way, the people who are going to tell you most you can't do something or put you down or beat you down usually are the authority figures or the people closest to you or your parents or friends. Believe it or not. I'll explain why later if there's time. Usually the people that put us down most are parents, family, friends, people close to us, or authority figures. So again, take a screenshot of this, guys, because we don't have a ton of time tonight. But what I wanted to show you is that look at all the different time periods of your life. You probably have more than this, but take a look at the big ones and look at the time period. Okay, it was public school. Maybe it was infancy or being a child. You could use that one as well. What did innocence teach you about you and others or something, right? So look at this one. Public school, I was bullied, I was beaten up, I was teased, I was the school loser, I was a scapegoat for pretty much everything. I couldn't do anything right. Any clothes I'd wear, I'd be made fun of. People would people come up with scissors and cut my clothes. Sometimes it was insane. It was anyways insane. By men and women, not just guys, believe it or not, by men and women. So I had learned all this crap to support people, help others, stand up for other people, and to protect myself. One of the ways I did that was I learned martial arts, and I became very, very strong, fat, unfortunately, and strong as well, as I was miseating. But again, this is something I learned, and instead of rejecting and resisting that that time period, that epoch of my life, I'm like, wow, I learned some kick-ass stuff there. And this is very valuable. So embrace that, guys. And when you embrace this stuff of your past versus just pushing it down, forgetting about it, refusing to look at it or talk about it. And again, talking about it is often the key as well. Share this with someone. Have someone do this with you. A friend, partner, you name it, mentor, we can do it. Have someone do this with you. Let's say high school. I tried to have everyone like me because they didn't before. And I learned that wasn't very successful, trying to be likable. And again, life's a journey. We're always working on things. And I'm still, working on the tail end of that now. And I learned that I need to choose what I want and what I care about versus being cool or being liked or doing what's in fad or changing clothes just because it's cool or those are the brands. And I really didn't learn not to care, right? I learned not to care. And you can see the rest of the list. I don't want to go through it ad nauseum, but you can see from corporate life, the last one I'll touch on, layoffs. They were changing my pay structure, screwing with my pay. So I was making less and less money for more and more work. And it was a kind of a crappy time. I didn't want to be there anyways. I didn't care how secure someone's server was. I wanted to help people. And I was sick of all the crap that was going on. And so I learned it was a hard time in my life, but I learned a lot about people, about human behavior, about companies I don't want to work for and what I want my company to be. And I learned I need, as hard as life is, this will always, looking back, this will always keep me going. As tough as being an entrepreneur is, I'll always realize that, wow, I need to do something I love, I need to help people, and I need to control my destiny. No matter how hard it is, no matter how bad the days are, looking back at this. And so embrace these past identities, because these are all the different identities you've moved throughout your life. Embrace them all. Look and see why you're better, what you've learned, how this helped you, and embrace them all. And I would encourage you to do this with someone and share with others. It'll actually help you break through and break free from the chains, if you will, from these past identities holding you back and the baggage holding you down, and instead bring the learnings. Not only will it help you let that stuff go, it'll help make it super powerful. And again, it'll help you get these unconscious realizations and draw out the unconscious learnings that are there, and have your own brain realize that this was awesome, and it'll empower you. I promise you, this is so powerful. And I could do a whole evening on literally us doing this workshop on this page, on this technique. Without further ado, any questions, by the way, guys, on this before I move on, because it is very important. Just as a reminder, you're all on mute, or if you want in the chat, feel free to post in the chat as well if you have a question. Going once. Cool. You know when it sounds like this? Napoleon Hill writes, people who do not succeed have one distinguishing trait in common. They know all the reasons for failure and have what they believe to be airtight alibis to explain away their own lack of achievement. Right? It's almost become their identity and who they are, and their reasons for failure is blaming of others. So looking at fear, and this comes into hiding and procrastination. And I know Lionel had asked about procrastination before, and getting into action and how to start. And this was a common theme for you guys. So fear is false evidence appearing real, right? And for your fears, like I said, run towards your fear. It's so counterintuitive, guys. It's like niching down in your marketing message. I won't get into that, but it's like niching down. It's so counterintuitive to run towards your fears, your biggest fears. And if it's something you're really fearing or really scared of, it is a sign you need to do it. If you're procrastinating, it's a sign you need to do it, because it's a sign there's something there you're fearing, either fearing failure, fearing it not working out, fearing it going badly, fear of people ridiculing you, fear of public failure. Right? And who would want that? So of course, this is why we stop. Of course, why we procrastinate, no matter how much the 10% of your conscious mind, of your brain, wants to do it, knows you need to do it. It knows it's going to be responsible for the success of your business. That elephant, that huge elephant, says, no, I am effing scared. I'm not doing it. I might fail, or I'm thinking I will fail, or someone told me I couldn't do it, or I've never done this before. I don't know how to do it before. Or it probably won't work out. Or what if I fail publicly? What if I do this big public presentation and I screw it up and I fail? Or I start this new thing or this online course or whatever, and it screws up, or I look bad, or I fail. This is why we procrastinate. It's just false evidence appearing real. And this is kind of funny. Well, I mean, you do it. Otherwise, you wouldn't care. Otherwise, it'd be neutral, right? That's why you need to do it, because it's important for you. Life has brought this to you. The universe, life, God, whatever you believe in, this situation is in front of you because you're ready. If it's in front of you, you're ready, and you need to do it. And it's big, and you're fearing it. And if otherwise you wouldn't care about it. If it wasn't important and wasn't meaningful and wasn't right for you, you wouldn't care about it, or you'd be neutral. And like Laura says, what you resist will persist. And like Chester says, it's so very true. And look at this. Fears are like fears and problems are like the tax department. Think about it this way. It's kind of funny. Fears and problems are like the tax department. You get a letter, it's a letter from the tax department. It's a small thing, and you ignore it. Whatever it is, maybe they want you to pay, or you owe them something, or whatever. You ignore it, just like a small problem or a small thing at first. And a few years goes by, and it becomes a big and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger problem as years go by. And all of a sudden, you get a letter, or they show up at your door. I'm not sure if they even do that. And they come for your house. They freeze your accounts. They garnish your wages. There's huge fines. There's jail time, right? These are like our fears. If we don't face them, life comes knocking harder and harder, bigger and bigger, louder and louder. And that's usually what things blow up. And like Chester says in the chat, yeah, good point. What you run from, you eventually will run into. And Chester totally gets this. Partially because he's a really smart man like you all, partially because he's taken the course, of course, as well. He's come to the course. So what you run from, he'll eventually run into, and usually it blows up. So here's one way to help you when you're procrastinating or hiding. I call it hiding when people are, they're making their website perfect, their flyers perfect, they're on social media doing little posts and stuff like that, or posting different things, and they're not actually getting out in person. They're not doing videos, live videos. They're not being vulnerable, right? I call it hiding. And it's because you're fearing it. So the key, the secret, guys, is to make your fear of not achieving something bigger than rather make your fear of not achieving something bigger than the fear of going for it, the fear of taking action. You know, that fear of failure, if you will, the fear of failure. Make your fear of not achieving that bigger than your fear of failure. It's a bit of a logical process, but also in its way, of course, for your unconscious mind to discover too, what's at stake, like what's really at stake. And this is something I'm certainly an expert at helping with. It's a little out of scope today. It does take some time, but just write down, like, what are all the consequences of not achieving this, of not having this, not being this? What's going to happen for you? What will happen if you don't achieve it? What won't happen? What great stuff won't happen if you don't achieve it? What crappy stuff will happen if you don't achieve it? And another cool way to look at it, what crappy things, what bad things will not happen if you do go for it, if you do achieve your goal. And I've kind of given away some of the secrets there, and that's kind of one of the ways to make your fear of not achieving it bigger than the fear of doing it and taking action, the fear of failure, right? So we're always making up movies, images, visualizations of fear and failure in our minds. And we're always, you know, our fears are not real, right? Our fears are not logical. Our fears are based on false futures that we're making up. It hasn't happened yet. We have no idea what's going to happen. So if we're making up what we think might happen in the future, and it's all made up anyways, we might as well make it up good. You might as well make it up really great. You know, you might as well, if you're making up movies, you might as well make them good instead of these fearful doomsday movies of failure and all the crap that happens, some consciously, some unconsciously as well. So a couple tools that you can use, especially when you get that monkey mind or that self-doubt or that voice in your head. It's not yours, by the way, even if it sounds like it. That voice in your head that says you can't do it, you're not going to be successful, you're not smart enough, you're not worth it, you're an imposter. Whatever that voice is, that negative voice, you're not good enough, you can't do it, you're not smart enough, people won't like you, people won't listen to you, people won't buy from you, people don't like you, whatever that voice is. So here's two techniques, and these are actually called pattern interrupts in the language of NLP. These are pure pattern interrupts. And a pattern interrupt simply interrupts that pattern. It stops that pattern, that voice, that whatever in its tracks, even if you're saying it to someone else. So a pattern interrupt can be as simply as, stop it to someone. If someone's doing something and running a pattern you don't like or a bad pattern, you can say, stop it to yourself. Or to that gremlin inside you, that monkey in your mind, that devil on your shoulder, stop it. Or shut up, works pretty good too. You know, whatever you want to do, that voice, that negative voice inside, stop it or shut up. And be bold and be courageous when you say that. And it works extremely, extremely well. It's something very simple. It can be, explained way more complexly, but in a nutshell, this is a pattern interrupt. Another pattern interrupt is when you're fearing and fearful, and you're questioning yourself, and all the monkey mind is going on. You're overanalyzing it to the ninth end, and you're not taking advantage of my 3-second rule, and you're holding yourself back. You're talking yourself out of it. Just yell to yourself, "Screw it! I'm going to do it." Just like Nike. Phil Knight from Nike says, "Just do it." You can use the F it. You can use, F it, here I go is also a good one too. And just literally, as you scream these words, just go and do it. So those are two types of pattern interrupts, and explained in a very basic but useful way. Again, shut up, stop it, or screw it, I'm going to do it, and literally start moving when you do it, or F it, I'm just going to do it. I find although crass, the F it can work very, very well because it is so crass and it is so brash and gets us out of our head, and it can be pretty powerful. So that is a pattern interrupt, and one of the NLP tools that's so powerful yet so easy. If we have time later, I'm going to show you how to blow up these mental movies, mental pictures as well. Here's a little fears exercise, and I suggest taking a screenshot of this, because this is a good exercise to take yourself through when you're fearing something, when you're procrastinating. So think about this. If you're procrastinating, if you're hiding, avoid any excuses, you're fearing. There's a fear there. What is that fear? What do you feel will happen if you take action? List all the fears, write down all the fears, get them out of your head, because what is abstract will control us. What is abstract is the most fearful things. Concrete things don't tend to cause that much fear. It's abstract things. and the unknown. So write it down. What do you feel will happen if you take action? What do you fear will happen if you succeed? Now list all the great things that could happen. And yes, I did say, what do you feel will happen if you succeed? Often there's a big fear of success as much as a fear of failure. And now list all the great things that could happen when you succeed. And again, here's a little pointy stick to keep you moving and help you move. What are the consequences of not achieving these things, like I had mentioned before? Maybe it's regret, failure, despair, unfulfilled. Maybe you lose your house. Maybe you lose your car. Maybe you lose your business. Maybe you lose something big, right? And remember, guys, that the richest place in the world is the graveyard. People take so many good ideas, good books, good innovations, good thoughts to the graveyard with them, because they think they're going to fail, or they're not good enough, or it won't work, and they don't want to risk it. And living with regret is no way to live at all. In fact, there was a survey done a number of years ago of the old age homes and geriatric homes where people were on their deathbeds. And the biggest thing people said not was wasting money or time or energy, but it was regret. It was regretting not doing something, not trying something, not trying their best to become something. That was the biggest regret in these old age geriatric homes, people on the deathbed. That's the only thing they regretted. And not spending more time with people they love. Regretting not doing something, not following their heart, not following their passion. Okay. This may interest some of you, especially some of you who are into a lot of tools, a lot of personal development, who've done courses and trainings and meditations, affirmations, things like that. Fear, doubt, worry, and anxiety, it's like a force field to you. It's literally like a force field, and it prevents all the good things from coming into your life. Even if you're doing all the right things, meditation, visualization, awesome vision boards, affirmations, working on yourself, taking actions, taking courses, you name it. You can do all this stuff. And if that fear, that doubt, that worry, that anxiety creeps into your life, or is even a minority, let alone a majority, heaven forbid, which is usually the case, of our thoughts, if we're not trained in different tools, NLP being one of them, but if we're not trained in different tools to help prevent those negative thoughts and to control and stop those negative thoughts, most of our thoughts, I think there's about 60,000 of them a day, most of those thoughts are negative if we're not trained and programmed to stop them and even eliminate them and help prevent them from coming into our brain in the first place. Most are negative. And what's that costing you and your success, fulfillment, happiness, your ability to make money, to take action, right? So it prevents all the good things coming into your life no matter what we do. That's why this is such a powerful thing to work on. And there's a number of tools we can work on here. And I'm going to show you a brief one because we're running out of time. I'm going to show you a briefer one. And then maybe a couple of my students who are here from some of the past courses, they can give you some of their thoughts on this as well in a little bit. So some of the tools and how to change unwanted habits, patterns, and behaviors. Well, first, decide. Figure it out and decide what you want and who you're going to be and what you're going to do. And then just do it. Make a plan. Make a concrete plan and just do it. Most people don't have goals. Most people haven't decided what they want. And most people don't have a plan. This is why people fail, guys. This is why people fail. You know, they don't even know what they want. They haven't decided. They haven't thought about it. They haven't done something I give people. It's called the internal drive history. And it's an amazing experience to see what internally drives you, what your big why is, and where to go and what you want. It's so easy and so powerful. It only takes a couple hours with me. It's so powerful. So, you know, of course, easier said than done to decide and simply decide. Well, be willing to take a risk. And if there's one or two or three decisions, decide. There's also something we can do together called parts integration, which will help you, I suppose, integrate the part of you that wants this, but part of you wants that. Part of me wants to be an entrepreneur, but part of me wants to do this. And part of me wants to have a stable job. Part of me wants to do my own thing. Right? So there's something we can do with this part of you, this internal tug of war, that really, really helps. It helps you just, but for now, guys, just decide what you want and take a risk. You know, the way to find out if it's the wrong way is to take action and do it. And you'll know if it's the right one or the wrong one. If it's the wrong one, okay, good. Stop and start again. Right? Stop and start again. And, you know, avoid focusing on the negative. Remember, focus on what you want. Stop the story, stop the excuses, and really look at who and what you want to be. You know, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to have happen in your life? Follow your heart with this one. Guys, this is a bit of a platitude, but it's so true. The longest journey you'll ever take is from your head to your heart. And again, getting past that parental programming, society programming, culture, community, whatever programming that says you need to do this, you should do this, you have to do this, you need to behave and look like and act like and speak like this, right? Follow your heart, listen to what you want, listen to your intuitions, and take action on that. As much action as you can in the circumstances, because where there's a will, there's a way. I'm not a big fan of the words I can't, not in me, not in my family, my friends, and especially not my clients. There's always a way to do something. For example, many people have found ways to continue school or business during this whole COVID thing, teaching via online platforms, holding meetings. My men group hold meetings online on video conferencing. People started online courses. It's kicked people's butts to start something, right? So there's always a way to do something. And one of the ways to figure out what you want and who you are is think about, am I being who I want to be? Am I being the man I want to be? Am I being the woman I really want to be? Who is that person? Who is that? And again, just think about this. Write it down. Take notes, guys. This is so important because we're often chasing someone else's dream, or we're chasing something, or being busy, or following a habitual day, really without even knowing why. It's just a habit and a pattern. We're like hamsters on a wheel. Get up, maybe go to the gym, go to work, come home, eat, maybe go to the gym or go walk, watch TV, go to bed, do it all over again. And without really knowing why and having a greater purpose. It breaks my heart because so many people are unfulfilled. And that is often why we're trying to look good. We're buying things we don't need. We're acting like everyone else. We're talking like everyone else. We have addictions. We have vices. We are unfulfilled. There are drugs, whether it's treating someone poorly, it's reacting poorly, getting angry at someone, and all our negative self-deprecating and self-sabotaging patterns. So here's a way. Here's a way to help program your brain unconsciously. Look at a mentor or a superhero to you. Someone to you, a superhero to you. What are they doing? What is it that they are doing? How are they acting? How are they thinking? How are they reacting? Model them while still being yourself. So analyze what makes them them. And while still being yourself, be them, right? Be them. Put a picture of your superhero up, and don't feel too worried if it's a real person. Maybe it's a mentor or a manager or an uncle or aunt or father, mother, a friend, you name it. And or if you want, just write their name in big letters on a piece of paper. And whatever you do with that piece of paper, you could write down, is this what, let's say Fred, is this what Fred would do? Is this the way Jane would act? Is this action, reaction, hesitation, hiding, procrastination, who I really want to be? Is this who my superhero, Superman or Superwoman or Wonder Woman or Fred or Jane or Sally, is this what they would do? And the what I'm doing right now, or what I'm not doing, is this who I really want to be? Is this who they would be? Is this who I want to be like? And it's a good hard question to ask yourself and get yourself present enough for a moment to stop the insanity, so to speak, and really consider this and help you stop some of these patterns or start something that you want to start, right? By the way, I also chose this picture because there is scientific evidence and research that after 2 minutes in the Superwoman, Superman pose, 2 minutes, and I find it's actually even 30 seconds. After 2 minutes of this pose, you can completely change your emotional state. You need to be on, if you need to be in some sort of an important meeting, powerful meeting, if you need to perform, if you need to present, have tough talk, feel powerful, confident, literally scientific evidence that 2 to 3 minutes in this, and again, I feel it within 30 seconds. The power pose like this, Superwoman, Wonder Woman, Superman, power pose, superhero power pose, within 30 seconds to 2 minutes, you're going to feel like a different person. You're going to go from disempowered to sad, frustrated to powered, pumped, confident. You might even laugh. So use it. Use this power pose, as well as using this to be looking and modeling a mentor. NLP is often about modeling excellence, modeling what works, and taking the nuances out of that, so you don't have to do everything someone else does. Just take that magic, the key ingredients that worked, right? So that's what modeling is, and that's why this is such a powerful step, both to manage your emotional state by superhuman pose, and also to model someone. What you must do Must do to be successful. Be committed versus interested. Actually committed. Are you willing to do anything that's legal, moral, and ethical? You got to work on yourself and keep working on yourself daily, continually. Do the actual work you need to do. Be willing to do anything. Be willing to fail. Never ever give up. And here's a frame. Do you want to be a dabbler? Do you want to be a dabbler in something, or do you want to kick ass and become a leader, become an expert? There's so many dabblers, so many people that want to, or they're wannabes. They want to do something. They're dabblers in something. They don't choose to be an expert. Don't choose to commit, to dedicate 100% to themselves and their craft, and to say, screw it, I'm going to do it no matter what, no matter how hard it gets. And have 3 types of support. You know, have a friend, have a support group, have a support system, have a mentor. I'll talk about that in a bit as well. Because, you know, it's so powerful to have a mentor, and maybe a group of people in a different industry to give you guidance, and maybe have a friend that can call you out as well. So this is interesting stuff. 5 pillars for massive success and transformation. Any questions, by the way? I've done a lot of talking. Any questions? I wanted to give you a ton of tools tonight, guys. So I'm going a little quickly. Any questions so far, feel free to type them in the chat. And feel free to answer questions now. Another probably 10, 12 minutes until there's some Q&A, but feel free, type questions. I can answer them here. Happy to answer and have you guys ask any questions. And I think probably Brett and Chester and Laura, who've taken some of my courses, they might even want to share some things as well, or comment on some things I've said. So the 5 pillars for massive success and transformation, guys. Focus on what you want. Really have clear focus on exactly what you want and know what you want instead of being scattered. Be like a laser versus a light bulb. Clean up the past, work on yourself. Some of this you can do yourself. Some of this I implore you to get a mentor or coach to do this with. You know, take a workshop, take a course. Do this often with others as well, because we can't do everything ourselves. We often can't work on our own unconscious mind and see our barriers ourselves sometimes. Even talking to others and sharing with others can be very powerful. Take action. Nothing happens without action. The law of attraction and the book The Secret, the movie The Secret, they are missing a secret, guys. They're missing a secret. Ironically, the book called The Secret is missing a secret, and it's taking action, doing the actual work, doing what you need to do. That you know, having a wheelbarrow outside and standing waiting for money to fall in your lap is not going to happen. Holding your arms out, waiting for that beautiful stranger, you know, to fall in your lap is not going to happen. Sitting at home, starting a business and just twiddling your thumbs, doing nothing, and no marketing, no reach outs, no conversations, no calls, not being uncomfortable, not being vulnerable, not putting yourself out there. People are not going to call. The phones are not going to ring. Be okay with risk and failure. I find that I'm Canadian, but I find that Canadians are so risk adverse. Some of the most risk adverse people in the world. You know, we risk and you know, be okay with risk. Calculated risks, of course. Calculated risk. I'm seeing a lot of nods on the video chat here. Be okay with risk, guys. Calculated risk. With no risk, no reward, and no action, there's no learning. So also be okay with failure. Besides, there's no failure anyways. There's just feedback and learning, guys. It's just feedback and learning. And the 80-20 rule here applies. The 80-20 rule here applies. So 20% of what you do is going to be highly successful. 80%, guys, is going to be learning lessons. Is just going to be learnings and learning lessons. Some people may call this failure, but really it's just one of the best ways to learn. 80% of what you do is learning lessons. 20% of what you do is going to be highly successful. And avoid letting that demotivate you, because 20% works today. You say you do 10 things today, 2 work. Good. Say you do 10 things tomorrow, 2 of them work. You try 10 things the next day, 2 work. Try 10 new things the next day, 2 of them work. After a year, that's going to be a lot of things that work for you. And of course, never, ever, ever give up. I've designed some online programs and online funnels, and it's been about a better part of the year tweaking them, getting them worked, getting them examined, getting them working, getting them fully tweaked. So never, ever, ever give up. You only fail if you give up. And one point, guys, about risk and failure. If you don't take risks and you don't want to fail and you want to just be comfortable and stay comfortable, which of course most people's unconscious mind does, you just got to do it. You got to face fear and take action. If you don't take action and face your fear and because you're too afraid of failure or risk or looking bad, you fail anyways. You fail by default because you live an empty life that's not fulfilled. You haven't done what you've wanted. You haven't succeeded what you really want to. So you fail by default anyways. So might as well try it and do it and learn from the failures versus failing by default and not accomplishing anything. All right, I'm going to motor through this one. Some of the keys to success. Again, execute with power and intelligence. Power and intelligence. Power is useless without intelligence. It's like a lightning bolt. And intelligence is impotent without power and action. So, find a mentor, find a support system, find the right friend, not any friend, but the right friend who care enough to hold you accountable versus just being nice. Find a group, find an awesome group, and call yourself on your own BS. Yet go easy on yourself when you do screw up. There's no such thing as failure. Remember, there's only feedback. And most people overestimate what they can get done in a year, but they underestimate what they can get done in 10 years, right? So another key is go step by step. Avoid overwhelming yourself or you'll freak out and you'll bail. Make sure mentors or experts or friends or well-intentioned guides know this as well. And a good mentor or a good coach will know this, and a good trainer will know this step by step. One of the last things I want to talk about, guys, is most people are asking themselves the wrong questions. Like, why me? Why can't I do this? What's wrong? Why isn't this working? Why are people hiring me? Why are people liking me? Why are people buying from me? Why are people dating me? Why isn't this working? Why can't I do this? Remember when we talked about focus, guys, and focusing what you want? You're asking yourself the wrong questions. And this is going to get you more of the wrong answers and more of the stuff you don't want because that's what you're focusing on. Focusing on the wrong thing will get you the wrong thing. So instead, celebrate what you have succeeded in. Focus on the gain you've got versus the gap. Instead of thinking and saying, I can't, thinking and ask yourself, how can I? What have I already accomplished? Who do I know that's already accomplished this that proves it can be done, that that's paved a path? Instead of asking, why me? Why is this happening to me? Think and ask, how am I going to blank and have fun and enjoy doing it by such and such a date? How am I going to celebrate? Who am I going to celebrate with? So these are the questions you want to ask yourself instead, and it programs your brain. It programs something called your reticular activating system. It's part of your brain that pays attention and goes and gets things for you. It's the go-getter. It's the go-getter and the goal-getter. So how am I going to blank? Make X, let's say you want to make, $100,000 by the end of the year. How am I going to make $100,000 by the end of the year and have fun and enjoy doing it by, December 31st? How am I going to celebrate, right? And that is one of the last things I wanted to talk to you about, guys, is focus on your passion. Again, remember we talked about why and passion? People will buy from you, they'll hire you because of your why and your passion, not what you do. And there's a saying, people with a strong why, an incredible why, can bear any how. They can bear any tough times, right? And your why is what will get you through tough times. People get excited not at what you do, but why you do it. So get excited. Know your why. Know why you do it. Know why it fills you. Know why it's your higher purpose. Know why it helps the world. I'm gonna skip this one because we had this other seminar on this one. I'm gonna skip this one because I know there was a bit of questions, a bit of Q&A, and and a couple. I think I want to get and see if any thoughts. If Laura had any thoughts, if Brett had any thoughts, if Chester had any thoughts on any suggestions for you guys because they've taken the course. If I missed anything, they've taken some of the stuff. So wanted to get their thoughts and any questions that may have come up. Feel free to type questions in the chat, guys, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask any questions at all. Chester, Laura, Brett, have I missed anything? Anything you think I should chat about? Any feedback? Any thoughts you want to share on what I do? Because you guys know what I do and you've been to what I do. Any thoughts, questions, comments, feedback? You're all muted, by the way.
I'd say
Oh,
Go ahead, Laura.
go ahead, Brad, go ahead.
I just say making a decision to decide to go all in, like, as you and I have been talking last week, James, deciding that, are you going to go all in, or is it just going to,
You looking good.
Let me mute. Go ahead, Brett.
yeah, just making a decision, to go all in. Like, are you that committed to go all in? Is this going to be the end all to be all, right? So, as we see in society, people that have gone all in, they're at the top, right?
Yeah, this is true. This is true. And Brett, for everyone wants to know, Brett is a motivational speaker as well. We met about a few months ago when he came and took one of my courses, one of my transformation courses, learning NLP, learning about communication, influence, leadership, speaking, and even sales. So he's a motivational speaker, really, really cool dude. Actually, has a really cool story. I'd love to share it maybe in a future. He almost died, and he's been kind of reborn, looking at life differently, and maybe we'll have him share next time his story. But he almost died a few years ago, and he's come and he turned himself into a motivational speaker. Really cool, really inspiring dude. So just go all into anything you want to do, whatever it is, and be all in. Anything else, Brett, before we let Laura contribute?
Go ahead, Laura.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, James, for this webinar. It's really been insightful, and I've actually taken the NLP course with James this past year in March, and it was awesome. It was so insightful, and the best part about it was that you're pretty much just learning all about yourself every day. And it kind of sounds like, oh, okay, you're a little narcissistic or selfish, but it's actually not, because every day you learn about yourself, you understand the little things about yourself that may have been preventing you from taking the next step. And so as James was mentoring us and coaching us through this program, it helped me personally release a lot of negative emotions that were almost like laying dormant inside of me, and that I didn't realize were there until he taught us how to access our unconscious mind, just like you've taught us today. And he gave us really the tools and the beliefs, or even like released our limiting beliefs that kept us living in fear most of the time. And these things build up over time, of course. So it really, like, James really gave me the tools, the confidence, the realization that I'm able to access this part of my mind and just let go of anything that's not serving me anymore. And it's almost like a mental detox. Like you flush it out, and you flush out any toxic emotions out of your system. You start with a clean slate again, and it honestly does wonders for anybody. Like, anyone who's resisting change, observe that. And that is the thing that you're most resisting is probably the thing that you're supposed to be doing. And that's what I've learned throughout this, the NLP course that I took with James. And it was things that I was resisting most that I was supposed to be doing. And so it was an incredible shift for me. So thank you, James. I just wanted to express my appreciation and my the achievements that I've taken from this course and all my successes that I've had. Like, another thing that I've gained was, actually, it's a bonus on top of my personal development, but James also helped me get a $17K raise in the first year of me working at a new company, which is almost like unheard of. I had only been there for a year. And he helped me pretty much believe in myself again, and believe in the value that I was giving in this company. And so, like, without having a mentor and, you know, a group of classmates that were very supportive and very accepting, to me being in such a vulnerable state, I would have never asked for, you know, what I deserved on my own. I would have never taken that step and asked for what I deserved. And when I did, and when James taught me how to ask for it, he taught us how to communicate with other people. He taught us how to look for the value in ourselves as well. And it wasn't all James, it was actually our awesome classmates too that
Absolutely.
were
Yep.
like, including Brett. Brett was in on the class, and Jennifer was actually in on the class as well. And we had such a great support system that you kind of just, you know, you see that everyone's going through the same thing, and that there's no reason to fear anything anymore. So yeah, I just wanted to express my appreciation for this kind of learning. NLP has really given me lots of good insights on myself and on the rest of the world.
Very cool. Very cool. There you go. 17K and a whole lot of tools to take care of their nutrition. Laura's a nutritionist, by the way, if anyone needs a great nutritionist, to some other tools as well to take your business to a whole new level as well, right?
Yes, definitely.
Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool. Amazing. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, it's amazing. I know like Angela and Mabel especially had some different questions on the course. Chester and Nina Marie, do you guys want to share anything out of curiosity? Anything you've learned, anything I've missed, anything we should share about the themes today?
I don't know if Nita would like to go first. I wouldn't mind. It's up to her if she's ready. But if she's not, I can jump in quickly. First of all, I'll say, well, hey, James, good to see you. Handsome as ever. And you know, I can say we've had quite an interesting relationship, James, over the last year.
Yeah, we have, yeah.
When I first came across James, one of the things that I knew that I was challenged with was my smoking. And I don't think you even remember this, James. We had a talk back in March of last year where I told you I wanted to kind of like get rid of smoking. And we had a bit of a session where I told you I was kind of, it was hypnotherapy, and I was starting to feel this kind of a body buzz after a conversation. I kept on calling you and say, James, something just feels like different within me.
Right on.
And when I realized that my identity shifted from a smoker, I was smoking 22 smokes a day, 18 years straight, and a bit of what you had done and a bit of the spiritual aspect of what I had done as well. The next morning I woke up, I never smoked again. And I talk about it all the time, and I couldn't explain more than it was just a shift in identity, and how timeline therapy really helped me to kind of go back, because the questions you asked me, I was like, this is so deep, because, you know, it went back into a time where I didn't even think that even existed in my subconscious thoughts, right? So
it holds us back because we don't know it, right? We're not aware. That's why it holds us back.
Exactly. But, you know, even people now that know me when I used to smoke, they're like, 22, you were smoking 2 packs a day, and then you just woke up one day and that was it. Never happened again. And also back in September when I was supposed to go away and I was stuck, and I called you and I said, James, I'm stuck. I can't seem to get certain things done. I know what I need to do, but it's like an overwhelmingness takes you, and you don't know. It's almost a state of paralysis. And you helped me get through that, man. I'm so ever grateful for you for those 2 events in my life. And naturally, I would have only wanted to become part of your mentorship because I saw the great value in what you did in my life. You saved my life, man. You saved my life. I saved over about $6,000-7,000 worth of money in smoking.
Wow.
It saved my relationship because now I have a much more, well, I just got deeper with him than myself. I understood my negative fears or challenges. So now I'm more forthright in my relationships, and I've seen results in my business life, in my professional and personal life. So, like, you know, I'm really, really grateful for you, Brandon. Like, you know, if you're looking at James right now and you feel as if that you want to change something in your life, this is what James does. He gives value before you come in, because he wants to make you know that, hey, this is stuff that you can actually implement into your life. And even this masterclass right now is beautiful, because people get a chance to use some of the things you've spoken about and really actually implement it and see it work in their life, and then eventually they'll be drawn to you. So
Right on.
kudos to you,
How
brother.
how has it helped you? Because one of the things you do that I think probably that Mabel with her team and Angela, because she's real estate, even Dahlia, she's a financial advisor. It just in maybe 10 seconds or 15 seconds, how have you loved the tools it's given you for sales? It's given you for communication, for rapport with people. Do you love the tools the course has given you for connecting with people on a deeper level? Yeah, have you loved them? Have you had fun with them?
I love him so much. I took the notes in the classes and I have them all over my apartment. So
Nice.
whenever I'm talking to someone on the phone, I just go back to the notes that we had about parts integration or anchoring, and I'm able to help people. And it's like, oh my gosh, this stuff is working.
Nice.
It's alive. So, brother, great value and great thanks for what you've done for my life and for the many people that are in here as well too. So
My pleasure.
kudos to you, brother. Thank you.
And it turns you into a really, really powerful and really enrolling. I don't even want to call you a salesperson. You're an enroller, because you literally, your heart to heart have conversations with people, and it makes them want to do business with you, which it's been so cool to see, and have you not need to sell at all. It's just enrolling people and getting them excited to work with you. It's something like Mabel and Angela definitely looking at it, and perhaps even Dahlia, and Laura, of course, all you entrepreneurs out there wanting people to do business with you. It's a really kick-ass thing. It's a really kick-ass thing. So very.
You mentioned something very key too as well, James. You said that we have to blow things out, like the programming we get, and it's that programming goes so deep. And I would have never realized it until I quit smoking, because that went back from when I was like in my pre-teens. And to think that I could go back into that time and actually tell myself I don't have to do this, and whatever emotional thing was going on in my life, I was able to bring myself in the present to the past and pull my past out of it, and then all of a sudden I'm free from it. So definitely the program is something. And even the word fear, I like how you put that acronym of false evidence appearing real. We have to realize what things like fear, or reprogram ourselves to failure, because failure is nothing bad. Failure is a learning process to your success. So I really am. I wouldn't have learned all this if it wasn't for you, brother. So I'm very grateful for that. So thanks again.
Amazing. I love it. I love it. Very cool. Very cool. And Brett, I think Brett's been using the tools Brett's doing a lot of virtual things now. He's doing a lot of videos as well, and using a lot of the tools for influence, for looking at communication styles, making sure he's speaking to different people's communication styles. What was, just out of curiosity, Brett, what would you say was one of the favorite parts of the course? Would it have been the communication styles, making sure you're speaking everyone's language? What was one of your favorite parts of the course to do with your motivational speaking business and being highly influential, Brett? Any thoughts? I'll unmute you.
This will change you. You'll get past so many emotional and things that are just on your brain throughout past history, and just some of the tools we learned, like you'll get there, you'll have a breakthrough. It's gonna happen whether you like it or not. So just it really helps everyone. It's gonna help everyone, whether this is something you relate to or something you don't relate to, right? You're gonna break through and get through so many obstacles when you do this course with James. It's mind-blowing.
Amazing. I love it. And just to see you go to become a very influential man, and your videos change, and who you are as a speaker and motivational speaker and empower change, and just having those conversations with people and having them listen to you, having you influence them, and having them want to listen to you, want to do business with you. It's been very cool to see, and just even the excitement and you adapting and adopting the tools in your life has been super cool. Not just your business, but your life. So really cool. Any other questions, guys, by the way? Anything else, Mabel, anything else, Angela? I know our time was short today, so I didn't have tons of time to answer in detail all the questions. That was a little bit on getting to know the client, trust, because often that comes with confidence and comes with certainty. If you don't have the certainty in yourself or your abilities, your client, your product, your service, your clients and your team also won't have the certainty in you. So They're not going to follow you, not be inspired or led by you. They may not do business with you. You have to have absolute certainty. Despite what life has done to you, what our situations when we were younger has done to you, you need absolute certainty that you can help them, that you are an expert and you are awesome. And that's usually what gets in our way from having rapport, people trusting us. We're talking a good game, but that unconscious stuff goes across of, well, can I help them? Am I good enough? Are they gonna want me? Can I really do it for them? And that self-doubt goes across. People hear everything going on inside your head, guys. Trust me in this. People will hear what's going inside of your head. So let's clear that out. And that's often what prevents people from buying from us. They'll literally hear what's going on in your head. And that's also how we helped Laura get a raise, knocked out that crap and that stuff that says I'm not worth this, and helped her get a $17,000 raise because she was absolutely certain she was worth it. And that vibe, that energy went across to her bosses, and they said, okay, sure, here you go. So any questions though? Any questions from any of you guys? Any questions?
So I really like that this is what you said about finding your own why and believing it. Cool. And I totally buy into this. Like, you have to know your why before you even know how, because knowing why you already succeed for 90%. So what I'm a little bit struggling is that, okay, I know my why, or maybe I pretend or thought that I know my why. Yeah. But then how can I lead the other people to find their own why, or how can I not to enforce my why onto the other people, but guide the other people to find out their own why? Because not a lot of people wanted to come, listen to an NLP, right? So then it comes down to like day-to-day, leading of my team, my salespeople, and also guiding the clients to find out their own why.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. So great question. In a nutshell, I'll teach you all that stuff. I'm happy to teach you all that stuff. In the meantime, just have them, follow their intuition, have them listen to their intuition, listen to their heart, surround yourself with people, and hire people with your team, preferably that have at least a similar why. It doesn't have the exact same why, but a similar why than you, or they're open to a higher purpose, or open to something bigger than themselves. You're going to have the best teammates and best employees if you hire and have people on your team that make it more than just about themselves, that have a bigger purpose, bigger why. I guarantee you they'll help you more, make more money, enroll more people, and help people. You'll all be more fulfilled. I guess one way is just to lead through action and show them. They're going to want to know, hey, Mabel, wow, what are you doing? You're so inspired. You're always happy. The crap doesn't get to you. You're making so much money. You can just do this. Whatever, you just close. You can just enroll people. You're so good at this. How do you do it? And one of the things you could say is, I know my why. I found my why. I know my why. And I live by my why. And I make it all about the why versus about the money. And you can also share with them, when you find your why, the money will come, and it will come pouring in when you have your why. Or reconnect to it, because a lot of people lose track of their why, in life or in business or whatever, in relationships, they lose track of their why. Yeah. So tell them that, hey, you want to make more money? Let's find your why. It's so important to find your why and have you realize it. There's something I do. It's called the internal drive history as well. It's an exercise I'm happy to share with you. Help your team be successful. We'll talk offline. And we can talk a little more about this as well. I love how interested you are, and yeah, I'm happy to share that. I guess it's not assessment, but it's a discovery. It's called the internal drive history. So let's talk about that offline, and happy to get that to you so you can help them find their why, their bigger purpose. It's powerful, and it's avoid worrying that's going to make them run off and hug a tree or start basket weaving or something, and it drives everything they do, even working with you into the bigger picture of their life.
If I could add to that too, James.
Yeah.
Also, I think that it's about becoming the best version of yourself too. Like, this is what the program had done. Yeah. It really pushed you out of your comfort zone to really do things you're not comfortable doing, and in that process, you become the best version of yourself. What happens is that because you become more refined, more confident, people are drawn to you but you don't necessarily, but you're in your flow, you're in your zone. And I think that when people see that, they're gonna be like, what are they doing? Like, what are you doing that, why you're so good at this? Why are you so consistent? And that's what's gonna really draw them to you. It's not by what you say, it's but what you do, right? So
Got it.
I think when you transform yourself, people will see that. They'll hear it, they'll pick it up, and they'll be drawn to listen to you because now you are the professional. You're leading your team, right? Abel. So when you're talking to your team right now, it's not what you say, is what you do, and then they're motivated by what you do to follow along and trust what you do. Right?
Right on.
Hope
Right
that
on.
kind
Yeah.
of helps.
Exactly.
That's very good sharing. That's actually we've been consistently talking about within my team, but then I think that's I probably thought that I do good, but then there's definitely a lot of part that I need to improve. It comes down to probably to attune myself, and then it will show, just as you said.
Yes,
Exactly.
definitely.
And that's something we work on in the course. And when you walk the walk and talk the walk the walk and talk the, I've been talking too much today. When you walk the walk and talk the talk, like, which almost no one does these days. People are so unreliable, so flaky these days. I mean, look at friends, employees, colleagues, customers. People are so flaky these days. When you walk the walk and talk the talk, wow, will you ever stand out? Will you ever be seen as different? And do what you say what you do, commit to something and do it, and hold your agreements. If you commit to something, do it. And people will notice, and they'll say, how are you doing this? They want to learn from you. They want to work with you just by osmosis. They want to hang around you. And that is a great recipe for great staff, team, employees, clients, and people wanting to do business with you, because they want to hang around with you. People do business with who they like, they trust, they're inspired by. People don't do business with someone that they're not inspired by or that brings them down. People want to do business with awesome people. So when we're extra awesome, when we let our true awesomeness show, so to speak, again, your team will want to know how. Your team will be like, wow, I want to be like you. Teach me how, show me how. I want to do this. You'll have the best team ever.
Most definitely.
Okay, thank you. That's very good advice. I guess it's like we just have to find out like how we can really do it, right? Or like I should put it this way: why were we really doing this? Like find out like you deep down the why, and then you can actually sit down and like kind of talk to the others. It's more like, I think for a lot of people, and they're more like struggling about finding their own why, or even finding out the other people's why. That's why people always have blocks in communication with everybody else, like because people have different personalities, people always want different things. So how can we communicate with people who want different things than us? How can we communicate our why to their why? Because my why may not be even different than may be very different than their why, right?
Yeah, a great point. So a couple things, I guess. One would be behavioral flexibility, and we'll talk about that. And it's something big we talk about in the course, because the person or system with the most flexibility controls that system or controls the situation. That's why negotiators and threats, terrorists, hostage negotiators, they're very, very flexible. Very flexible. It's not what you see on TV at all. Very behaviorally flexible is one. And you'll also learn about people's communication styles, their learning styles, their action styles. And that way, instead of doing this with someone, whether it's a wife or a husband or a team or whatever, instead of people or clients doing this, you'll be doing this within your team, within your own relationships with your husband, your kids, friends, with clients as well. You'll literally speak their language. Instead of selling to someone who is, let's say, from China, trying to sell to them in Spanish, you'll be selling to them in let's say Mandarin, a Cantonese, or someone in English. You'll talk to them in English. You'll literally be speaking their language, and that's why this helps relationships after as well. People's look at Chester. This really helps you and your ladies' relationship.
Well, not only just that too. One of the things too is, I know Mabel was saying this too. We have to be careful with our internal dialogue. Sometimes we can project our values with our team or with the people we're talking on the phone, and we kind of miss the point, right? So it's really just sometimes we go on a call or you're with the team. It's just kind of flushing out what's in your mind, because you can have things going on, and then we can project our values to our people, and then we're more focused on ourselves rather than them, and then we miss it. So one of the things that, like sometimes anchoring, some of the, I won't get all the tools away, but there's some techniques that James has taught, and I use a lot of them Most of the time when I'm going on a call, if I have stuff going on in my life, like maybe someone just passed away, whatever the case may be, or just stuff going on, homeschooling the kids in the day while I'm working, a lot of things can just take over your mind, and you have to kind of just know how to anchor yourself out of that and put your state in a different place. So when you go on a call or you're talking to your team, you're really focusing on them. You're not really projecting your values, right? So that's also something very, very helpful.
Very true. That's a really good point. Thank you, actually, Chester. That's really great. In addition to, yes, the communication styles, learning styles, rep styles, action styles, keywords people use too. They're different people, different types of people use different keywords, buzzwords. Use people's buzzwords. If they say they want a badass, whatever service, you better tell them, I have a badass, whatever service, because that's what's going to wake them up. Their pay attention system, their RAS. They're like, wow. And they're not going to be like, oh, wow, they're mimicking me, they're copying me. No, they're like, wow, that's exactly what I want. How did you know? That's exactly what I need. I need you, Mabel. So it's really cool. It's almost like magic how some of the tools and techniques work. And it's not about manipulation at all. It's about serving people and helping your communication be better, more powerful, more impactful with team, with clients, with intimate relationships, kids. You'll learn how to talk to, if you have kids, you learn how to talk to your kids or not to talk to them better as well. Again, just powerful communication, effective communication with people. So yeah, great question. Thank you. Yeah, great. And we'll talk offline too. We've got about a minute left and I got to jump on another call. Any last questions, concerns, comments before I jump? My pleasure, Delia. My pleasure, Delia. Anyone, Magdalene, did you have a question? I saw you quickly type, but any questions? Cool. All right, guys. My pleasure. It's been a pleasure. And again, remember, life is a journey. I would love to have you as part of the journey. And if you want to talk more, here's my information. James Elliot, james@unleashyourpower.com. My phone is there, and as well, website is there as well. Until next time, it was nice to see you as well, my friend. Nice to see you, everyone. Thanks for joining. Thank you, everyone, for joining. Hope you learned a lot. And everyone have a great rest of your evening.
Okay, thank you very much,
Thanks,
James.
everyone. Be well. We'll talk.
Okay.
Thank you so much, brother. Much appreciated.